welcome to the Midlands Gaming Spotlight. I'm Tom Walker, and this is going to be a special series of interviews with some of the amazing talent we have from the region, from content creators to developers to indies. There's just so much to go through. The West Midlands has gone through a massive gaming revolution in recent years, from big AAA developers to smaller indie ones, making some of the best games in their genres and some of the most popular games online. This first episode is going to give you a brief overview of the region and its history with gaming and just what makes it so special. So, shall we begin? The Midlands, split into East and West, has been the birthplace of many famous companies and inventions. From British Leyland to Bakewell Tart, the variety is amazing. What we're here to look at is the video game industry. With studios dating back to the 1980s, some of the biggest franchises and characters in gaming have been born from right here in the Midlands. From the east, we have the Tomb Raider herself, Lara Croft, who was born in Derby and developed by former studio Core Design. There is also the time-hopping Time Splitters franchise, which were developed and created by the now sadly gone Free Radical Design. Though from studios that were eventually swallowed by bigger companies, they helped define their genres and generations. Over in the west, there are a number of studios, with one town in particular being the hub of racing developers. Royal Leamington Spa is the home of two of the biggest racing game developers in the industry. Playground Games is one of Microsoft's highest profile studios and the developer of the Forza Horizon series, with its last entry being set in the UK. The studio was founded in 2010 and currently has 2 offices in the town. It has also won the GameIndustry.biz Best Place to Work award 3 years in a row. Something very exciting is how the second studio is now working on the reboot of the famous Fable franchise. Just outside of Leamington, we have Codemasters, who are unparalleled in their rally motorsport games. One of the oldest big developers in the region, they were founded in 1986 and are the developers behind the famous Colin McRae franchise. Along with that, in more recent years, they have created and developed the Dirt and Project Car franchises, while also developing the official Formula 1 games. The racing pedigree really shows in each game they make, and have even been used in esports, with F1 being used to replace the traditional Formula 1 during the COVID pandemic. Another big name housing a studio in the town is Ubisoft, who has a subsidiary studio simply named Ubisoft Leamington. In their previous life as Freestyle Games, they developed the DJ Hero franchise and Guitar Hero Live. It was in 2017 when Ubisoft brought them into the Reflections group, and since then has gone on to help develop the Tom Clancy's The Division games, which have been critically well received and have a very, very active community. Moving out of Leamington and going back east to Leicestershire, we have Rare, a studio that has been around since 1985 and, like Playground Games, is owned by Microsoft after they were acquired in 2002. Their games in the 90s and early 2000s is what really put them in the spotlight. The developers of the classic GoldenEye 007, along with the Killer Instinct and Banjo-Kazooie games, their most recent game, Sea of Thieves, has over time become the most successful new IP Microsoft released in the Xbox One generation. Down in Bromsgrove is Flix Interactive, a small studio that assists others with development and games that rely on Unreal Engine. They've worked on big Xbox exclusive games, helping Rare with Sea of Thieves and Sumo Digital with Crackdown 3. A developer that spans both East and West Midlands is Rebellion. The developer behind the Sniper Elite series has offices in Nottingham, and after acquiring Radiant Worlds in 2018 and rebranding it, they now have Rebellion Warwick. Rebellion Warwick, much like Ubisoft Leamington, helps other studios to develop games like Strange Brigade and existing franchises like Sniper Elite. To finish off our list of AAA studios in the combined regions, in the far East Midlands, Rockstar has a studio in Lincoln, which provides a vital role to game development. Rockstar Lincoln's sole purpose is for translation and QA testing. The regions may have some big AAA developers, but it's also home to some of the biggest indie studios around. First off, we have Playtonic Games, whose founders were former Rare employees, and with that in mind, it comes to no surprise they made Yooka-Laylee, which is an indie platformer in the vein of Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong Country. In fact, a lot of their developers worked on those very franchises, so you could say platforming is in their blood. The West Midlands is also home to the developer of one of the biggest indie games ever made. Facepoint Studios is based in Warsaw, and is the developer of Garry's Mod and Rust. Garry's Mod was developed and modified from the source engine made by Valve and was released over 15 years ago. But thanks to its constantly thriving modding and player communities, it is constantly in the Steam top 100 games being played, and has enabled tons of creators to make entertaining machinima and gameplay videos. A smaller but still successful indie studio is Bulkhead Interactive in Derby. A studio founded by university graduates, they went on to develop the World War II shooter Battalion 1944, which led the studio to getting backing from huge developer and publisher Square Enix. they've also developed the popular and well-praised puzzle game The Turing Test. A relatively new indie studio is Or Interactive, also based in Derby. They are currently hard at work developing their first game, BPM, a rhythm-based first-person shooter. The Midlands, as you can see, is home to a number of big AAA and independent studios, but has a massive amount of smaller indie developers. Too many to feasibly count without making this episode drag on for a good long while reading off a gigantic list. There are sites like gamesmap.uk which can show you just how many developers and studios there are, along with local universities that offer game development courses. There are a number of them in both East and West Midlands that offer game development courses at bachelor's and master's level, such as Birmingham City University, which has a 2-year bachelor's course and then a 1-year master's course called Game Camp. With more and more big developers and publishers making their mark in the region, it's clear how the industry has been booming more and more over the years and is set to produce some fantastic games in the near future. So, now that you're all caught up on just what exactly the region has to offer, what studios are here and what they make, you're in the perfect position to enjoy the rest of our planned content. So, be sure to check out the website, kick back, relax, and watch at your leisure. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to be fighting. I got a game to play, so toodaloo. Come on, have it. No, have it.